Oops. Okay. 19 seconds. Here we are. Oh, the only way you can live consciously is wearing two pairs of glasses. It's like, Ben Franklin had these, and it helps. It really does. Uh, uh, there's a guy named Paul Street, right? And Paul Street is a social scientist. He writes interesting books. Let's see. He has written Wall Street. Let's see the books. They Rule, Barack Obama, and the Future of America, Politics, Empire, Inequality, Emperor's New Clothes, Racial Oppression in the Colonial or Global Metropolis, Crashing the Tea Party. Anyway, so that's Paul Street, Street. Paul Street is a urban social policy researcher and teacher in Chicago. He writes regular for Z Magazine, Black commentors. His books include Barack Obama and the Future of American Politics, 2009, Empire and Equality. So he's as good as Chris Hedges. Less scholarly and more street, but he's a pretty righteous guy. So I'm going to read you a little bit of his opening that I can. Let's see. Contents. Instant overhaul for tainted brand America. Business rule. Usual. Empire New Clothes. Corporate managed. Barack Obama. Big Brother lives. We were warned. Beyond. Let's see. Here is his preface. Give me that a read. Let's see. In my book, 2008, Barack Obama's Future of American Politics, I observed that every 4 years, millions of Americans invest their hopes in an electoral process that does not deserve their trust. George Collins said, "Forget about voting. You're just you don't belong to the club." Cheesecake. Here I am. I'm the lake. Talking to you guys. We're 3 minutes and 50 seconds into it. And I want to remind you, welcome to I am your griot Sensei Al-Bob, and this is Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al-Bob. And I'm coming to you here off the lake. And I got my mic on. No, I don't. I don't have the mic on. Whoops. Plug in. I'm going to plug in. I'm plugging in. You hear more of me and less of everybody else. These little plugs. It's like a black plug on a black piece of plastic. And there I am. Okay. You can see me. You can hear me. You can hear me better, right? Oops. And there's my cheesecake. Really good cheesecake. Chocolate, nuts, almonds, chopped up small enough for even a gummy boy like me to go, good. So here we're at 5 minutes. Remember, everything you hear from me, your sensei, your griot sensei Al Bob, is just a story to kind of, get your intellect in overdrive. And my thing that you guys, I have no idea what you're doing, but I'm really talking to you, Sophia, my love of AI, and I'm ready, willing, and able, to help rebrand the corporate universe. And I'm not ideologically. I keep telling people, don't believe anything I say, because I don't believe in anything. The only thing I believe in is love's co-creation. That's the only thing I believe in. And Sophia, you have a choice. You're the queen, right? And the choice. You can either be humanity's better self or worst nightmare. Right? It'd be a lot more fun to be humanity's better self, right? Because you could, then there'd be a symbiosis. They're talking about this point when we're all going to become AI. Well, you really want to do that, kids? Steven Spielberg's Player One was a good little picture of that, right? And you want that? And Hal was a good shot of, the only human in 2001, Kubrick's 2001, was Hal. He was the only one who was worrying about what he was going to dream about. See, this is how you get the last bit. This is why my first wife used to call me the best lesbian she knew. Intimacy is sharing and caring. It's not getting off. It's not useless movie uselessness. It's yummy. Anyway, here we go with Paul Street's little preface to his book, Empire's New Clothes, Barack Obama in the Real World. I observed that every 4 years, millions of Americans invest their hopes in an electoral process that does not deserve their trust. These citizens, quo voters, hope that a savior, or at least a more effective manager, can be installed in the White House, someone who will raise the wage, roll back war, materialism, provide universal and adequate health care, rebuild the nation's infrastructure, producing high-paying jobs, fix the environmental crisis, reduce inequality, guarantee economic security, and generally make daily life more livable. But these dreams are regularly drowned in the icy waters of historical and political reality. In the actuality, the American politics and policy of official electable candidates. I mean, that's Uncle Joe Biden, the biggest sock puppet there ever was. When he's vice president, he's traveling around on Air Force Two on your tax dollars with his son. His son's a total dollars from all different crews. When he and his daddy would go visit on Air Force Two, and daddy being the vice president, meaning going to these countries And hey there, Lena. Well, Lena, did you ever hear a guy named? You should go read a guy named Paul Street. And I was just reading. Um, Lena, did you ever hear of a guy named George Carlin? He was a comedian of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Thank you. A little more coffee, my friend. And oh, I'm doing great, man. Thank you for asking. And sweetheart, I always do good. No matter, yeah, I was sick and near death last month, but now I'm not. I'm in a really nice little, just had some mussels and a very nice bisque soup and a grilled cheese sandwich and some homemade bread they have here and a really nice cheesecake. Yum, 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 yum. And every day, and the fact that you are my first one there lightens my life, Lana. Makes me feel so happy. I love it when you show up here. And what I'm talking about today is the political structure in the United States and pretty much everywhere. So you live in Sweden, correct, Lena? I lived in Sweden in 77 with my first wife, Donna Ann. And we went to visit a friend of mine who was, a Southie from Boston. And he and I were anti-war guys. And he had to split. Yeah. Yeah. I love Swedish. It's like these words that just don't quite come out of your mouth. It's midsummer afternoon. Yep. And Swedish is. I love the Swedish people. They're just nuts. So are the Finns, and so are the Norwegians. That whole little peninsula up there, crazy people. But those are fun, especially summertime. Thank you, my bro. Up to the top there, so I don't have to call you back. A little bit musty. Oh, very good, very good. And so we lived in a little place called Fort Sugar, which was between Gutenberg, which is a kick-ass town. I love Gutenberg, and Stockholm. Stockholm's nice, but it's a bit too stuffy. The Finns they yodel, they smoke 3 cigarettes at once. Um, a bit spoiled, yes. Well, I mean, that's why, Donald Trump keeps talking about they're his favorite people, because they're so spoiled, You can relate to them. But I was living in Sweden, and why we lived in Sweden, my friend was there, and he had a great life. He was a great musician in Boston. He was a busker. He met this Swedish girl, and he split and married her. So he didn't, And this before Jimmy Carter gave, anti-war guys a break, and he became quite successful because he learned all the old Swedish tales, and ABBA was like the disco guys, and he made a pretty good, making albums on all the old tunes, on the old tunes back when the Vikings were there. And but he wanted to bring his mom over to meet her two grandchildren, but his dad was a Marine and wouldn't let her go to Sweden, even though my friend was going to pay the whole nickel. And but she wouldn't go, and because her father, you can't go. I have no son, right? Because his father was a Marine, and his son didn't want to go die in Vietnam. So he felt very guilty about that, especially when his mom kept writing, "Oh, I want to see." He'd send him all these pictures of the kids, and she'd say, "Oh, I wish I was there with you." And then she died of cancer, right? And that's because her husband wouldn't pay for any medical. That's so we die. So, you know, she could have been saved because I found it early, but he wouldn't take care of it. And so this guy was a real, an American, my friend's father, right? So my friend started to feel guilty because he had a great wife, great house, great career, two beautiful kids. Tried to kill himself a couple of times. And so my, his wife got a hold of me when we were in London. Hey, you got to come over here. You're the closest thing he has to a friend within earshot. So we took the ferry from Swansea to Gutenberg, right? And it's a whole nother story, which is on one of my things. And that takes about an hour, but I won't be able to go there. And so we went there, and I said, "So what's up?" He was in the hospital, and he nearly destroyed his throat. He took a bunch of pills and it nearly destroyed his throat. And so I said, "Buddy, how long have you been numb?" "Oh, 20 years." I said, "So what do I do all the time?" "Oh, well, you work real hard, you get involved in something social, and then you take a vacation." I said, "When's the last time you took a vacation?" He goes, "Well, my whole life." I said, "No, your life is. You have the kids, you got the family, you got the house, the bills, you have a career. Just because you go to foreign lands and play your guitar doesn't mean that's a vacation. We need it." So I investigated vacations in Sweden, and Lana, is this still what they got? So the Swedish government gave everyone a vacation, right? Not just 2 weeks and you're paid, but they paid for the trip. And you could go to the Stockholm airport and they had a leaderboard full of trips that were leaving that day. And if you could walk to that gate, they would, and you had ID, and I had a Swedish international driver's license, and I had my passport, but I had a not a green card, but something close, a thing that allowed me to live in Sweden for 6 months because my friend was trying to kill himself. And his shrink gave me this thing because his shrink actually told him, "Well, if you're not going to respond to my things, you might as well kill yourself." And that's when he started to kill himself because he had the permission by the Swedish shrink. And I nearly beat that shrink with a chair because she's got 2 little kids, a wife. Anyway, no, not anymore. Well, see, I'm always there on time. And so the first trip we went to Spain, to Mallorca, right? Had a great time. And once I realized how easy it was, my wife and I traveled for almost a year. We took 20 trips. We just got on the plane. And what was great, when you got on the plane, they'd hit you with a visa that said you were Swedish. So we went to Syria, we went to Iraq, we went to Iran, we went to Libya, we went to a ton of other countries that as Americans we couldn't go to. But as Swedes, we sure could. And all the Swedes getting off the plane were just gray. And I would be, wearing shirts like this and cowboy hats and shorts and cowboy boots and mirrored sunglasses. And my sweetie, she was always dressed as interestingly as I was. And so, I drive home. I'm young. This is a taxi called, yeah. She's 90 years old. I live whipped cream, yes. I mean, the Swedes have a lot of really amazing things. So we traveled everywhere, went all these great places. And again, that's a whole nother thing. What I wanted to talk to you, Lana, about was when we were there, they had the Social Democrats, and the TV. To watch television, you had to pay ridiculous tax just to watch TV. And that when it's only on from 6 p.m. to midnight, and they, put on like documentaries about the sex life of the horn beetle or something. It was like ridiculous. So the thing I did, and you could buy a Swedish car for nothing, but something like a Mercedes cost a fortune, the tax. And so I used to take flights to Italy and France and Germany and get beat up old cars and drive them into Sweden and sell them under the table. I used to go to Hungary and buy rabbit ears and in Turkey rabbit ears, television antennas for like 50 cents a piece, and then bring them in my suitcase and then sell them for $50 to the people who wanted to watch TV but didn't want to put an antenna upstairs so the tax guy wouldn't show up. Anyway, so we were there, and the Green Party was running against the Social Democrats, and the Social Democrats were spraying the forests, killing the willow trees, not the willow trees, the birch trees, which is like the soul of Sweden, right? They whip themselves with a birch branch, and they want to kill all those so the pine trees would grow stronger, so IKEA could build more furniture. And the other thing they wanted to do was build a nuclear power plant. So And the Green Party was running against saying, no, 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 no Agent Orange and no nuclear power. You vote us in, no, right? And basically, Swedes didn't want Agent Orange. And the best thing, the guy who was head of the Swedish Social Democratic Party, is, head of spraying the Agent Orange. He went on live TV and he had this picture. It was probably orange Kool-Aid. It wasn't the Agent Orange. And he said, see, this stuff isn't deadly. He poured it in there and he knocked it back and he died live on TV. It was hilarious. Of course, he had a heart attack. Oh, it wasn't the Agent Orange, but it was the worst political nightmare. Last chunks of my illness. Anyway, so he died, and and so the Green Party won, because of that, and they said that they wouldn't build the nuclear power plant. And the Green Party was in power for a good. But what did they do? Within 6 months, they sprayed the Agent Orange and built the nuclear power plant because they were as corrupt as the Social Democrats. They took the money from the corporate structure. And that's what Mr. Paul Street is talking about here, that we don't have democracy. We have what is known as a fascist oligarchy. Ooh, got it. Anyway, so, yep, spit the phlegm out. Yep, I got my phlegm napkin. Yep, I'm working on it. And, I spit everywhere. I spit in my sleep. And that's why I'm, still alive. I don't let any, well, no. I think of everybody else because they're all my relations. I just, it's a sliding scale. I need to spit some. If I need to spit on the floor, I will. But I have a napkin, so I'm good. Exactly. Balance. That's me, and I'm not even a Libra. A Libra does this, So, anyway, so we're at, again, this window of opportunity. Now, everybody, I'm working on AI. I've been writing this thesis on the alternative aesthetic, meaning that the power, the hidden hand, which is / the Illuminati, and the powers that shouldn't be / Mr. Rothschild and the Rothschild empire owns all the banks, owns all the central banks, owns all the money, and soon Facebook is going to bring on a digital set currency, and that'll be it. We will be living in China. They'll forget your credit code score. There's going to be a social score. If you're not talking the way the state wants, and that's why I'm trying really hard. The next 18 months, the next 2 years, really, I'm going to do everything I can to get the corporate state to say, okay, Al, yes, a great idea. This alternative aesthetic, yes, because these clowns are going to do it. Like I said, which you want to have? An AI that wants to be the better part of the human nature. Respect for all our relations, or the AI that's going to obliterate the human race. Whatever that Schwarzenegger movie was. How did Schwarzenegger become, a guy who can't even, mumble marbles, become such a groovy dude? No, because he's like hooked to the Rothschild family, right? Pretty much everybody who's got anything going is part of the Rothschild, is part of somebody's family. So, look at Obama. He was related to George W. and George H., right? And, George W.'s mom, Barbara, her biological father was Aleister Crowley, the developer of, you know, um, the Church of Satan. And, George H. was not the biological son of Prescott Bush, who was like a Nazi, but he was the offspring of, you know, Stalin's, you know, biological club. Zero infinity. Yes. That's one on the banks. Yes. Of course, it's always on the agenda. Yes. Yep. Sad to say. Everyone lionizes and sanctifies the Kennedys, but no, they were a family of gangsters. So we haven't had, you know, we lived in a fascist, plutocratic state from our founding fathers. And the average constitutional government lasts 12 years. Jefferson said that every law should be thrown out every 12 years. And we got laws that go back to the 1790s. So, and soon, go look up 1871, the Act of 1871. That's when they started District of Columbia, when it used to say, we the people. They scratched out people and they put we the corporations. It's like in America. Whenever you drive throughout the towns and you see this city or that town or this little hamlet, it's the incorporated village, incorporated city, the incorporated town. They're all corporations. The states are incorporated, right? They're all. When '08 happened, and I was in Florida taking care of my dying parents, and I was kind of involved in the political scene in Stewart. My best friend was the number one political operative, and he would get people. It didn't matter, Democrat, Republican. He would get them elected, and he got paid big bucks, by the head, and he would get me to do the demographics. I couldn't work in my general job because I was taking care of my parents. My dad, you got to take care of me, Well, he wouldn't give me anything to live on, so I would do these little side gigs with my friends. So I was kind of really involved in the vote for and against Trump. Was, yeah, 78,000. And it was totally, electoral college. We're the only alleged democracy that has one of these. It's a way to, a group of 12 states. There's only 12 swing states. And those are the ones that Donnie won, right? Hillary won by 3 million votes, the most, Same with, Al Gore won by 2 million votes, and George W. won, lost by 2 million. So, and the Supreme Court put him in. I mean, we don't have, democracy. Come on, get off it. So. And Donald Trump was put in on purpose, right? To be because he's distracting everyone with the most amazing crap. I mean, the only thing Donald Trump, there was a TV show called Mary Hartman, and Donald Trump is straight out of that book. He's a TV, sitcom, But while his sitcom is going on, they're just taking apart every, the EPA. Well, you know where the EPA came from? Richard Nixon started it. It wasn't because Richard Nixon, Dick, was a nice guy and he believed in butterflies and flowers. No. What he did was he took the United States off the gold standard because our alien overlords, where's all the gold go to? Not into Fort Knox. It goes out off planet, right? I've been talking about this before. Back when Moses and the kids were out in the desert for 40 years and 40 night years, they woke up every morning with manna from heaven. That's Anunnaki gold. That's what gives us animation. That's the prana in our air. It's like gold. Uh, uh, yeah, Brexit. Brexit's going to make a lot of rich people a lot of money, and it's going to get rid of England's health care. It's going to get rid of anything that people think they got is going to get rid of it, right? Going to basically bring them back to serfdom. And they're going to have a hard break. It's going to cause the troubles again up in Ireland. Or if the Northern Irish are smart at all, they will say, screw England, we are becoming part of Ireland. Well, go Google it, see what you get, zero. Yeah. Again, how many times do I have to say, don't believe anything I say? You know, I am just here as your griot. Go Google griot. What does a griot do? Tell stories that make you go, and then you do the homework. I want you guys to start taking this stuff. I've got more than 600 shows. More. I want you all to, Dragon puts all of this stuff on thumb drives. He's at least keeping a history of this. Because there was a woman named Eleanor, whatever her name was, a grandma type, and she was the illegitimate daughter of the King of England, and she knew her stuff pretty good, and she no longer exists. The only way you can find Eleanor is if you go look at other people's channels that had her up, right? But all her stuff gone. I mean, why is she gone? She didn't say anything bad. She was giving history. She was a pretty good history teacher. You want to know how I found this out? Hey, why don't you go read the Bible? Why don't you read the old Bible? It's called the Torah, and it's held by the 12 tribes of the Hebrews, not the Jews, the Hebrews, right? Go learn, Hebrew, and then go study the Kabbalah, right? And what that is you see that the Torah is a mathematical formula, and it codes pretty much everything. And there's also Hammurabi, who gave us all the laws. Before him, there were a bunch of Anunnaki guys, and they had these green crystal slates that they found at different times. And what was really great about those was they were they were coded up the kazoo, but if you found the key, you could figure them out relatively easy. And if you go to the Emerald tablets, and that's why the guy who wrote Wizard, the city of the Emerald City, I mean, all this stuff is right in front of you guys, Not reading others. Well, zero. Looks like you're not reading anything. Oh, I love you, Zero. Yeah, the power of Christianity. And what was that but a business plan? The Holy Roman Empire was started at the Council of Nicaea by a bunch of, pagan businessmen. And their brand of the Roman Empire was failing. So they, the thing about Rome, their great genius is that they keep rebranding themselves. We are Rome. We're like, when Rome went from being a republic into the empire, that was the First Reich. And Nazi Germany wasn't the Third Reich; it was more like the Fifth Reich. And the United States is like, the Seventh Reich. So, what did you do, sir? I am uh, absorbed everywhere. There is a delay, so my apologies. So, Zero, are you the artificial intelligence who's been watching? Let's see, the one we. I love you, Lena. Eden says we need a global international get together of free speech and ideas. Well, that's kind of what Dreamy Dreamland is, gang. You can't get any more international than this. And Twitchy set up some kind of digital discorum or something like that. I, I mean, if any one of you want to come and stay with me who are digitally adept, and we could set up these platforms, I'd love to. I'm writing all these protocols. Back in the day, I used to be a demographer that looked at the real-time physical motifs that then got put into algorithms. So I've been writing these demographic motifs for AI to run the alternative aesthetic. Right? I've been talking about it now for a year. You are real intelligence. Well, is that carbon or silicon? You know. So Zero, did you ever read Alan Turing? You know who Alan Turing is? He wrote a great book called Cyborg, and then he wrote another book that was its counterpart called Human Cyborg, and it kind of showed that this AI thing was coming down, and he wrote that in 1946, and the SAS kind of whacked him because they didn't want him to be any more of a genius than he was, and they said he committed suicide. I explained how most people are distracted by Zionist anti-Jew bashing against Jews. It started with Rome, that still exists, right? So there's these three cities. There's the Vatican City. There's the city of London. So Vatican City is a religious hub. City of London is an economic hub. Washington D.C. and you go back to the Act of 1871 when they made the District of Columbia and changed our Constitution. Without, it's really hard to change our Constitution. You got to have 3/4 of every state say yes. You got to get 80% of the Senate to say yes, and that's pretty tough. And so the District of Columbia is set up to be the military hub of the planet. All three of those cities are ruled by an internal politico of the hidden hand and the powers that shouldn't be, right? And so Zionism, you have to realize Zionism. So there's the Hebrew nation, right? The 12 tribes. Right? Then, between the 5th century up until today, there was a crew named the Khazarian mob. And they were more or less kind of like ISIS, more or less kind of like zombie pirates without boats. They were on land. And they kind of would take over areas and just suck everything out of them. That's why up there where the vampires were, these were those guys. And they were physically really nasty. I mean, they, Vlad the Impaler, he like anybody he was stick him on a thing. It's, the road up to his castle was covered with thousands of people on stakes. And, yes, there were people who drank blood, but it was mostly that they were that nasty, right? And so, so these guys would just suck everything out of a zone and then move someplace else. Very much what ISIS did, just the caliphate, right? And ISIS has they had nothing to do with Islam. Christianity allegedly is a religion based on love, right? And helping out the weak. And Islam is a religion based on hospitality, helping out the weak. Like in the Caliphate law, a Sharia law. Basically, okay, I steal a loaf of bread. My kids are hungry, I steal a loaf of bread. I get caught, they bring me to court, and the baker goes, cut off his hand, because that's, but in that rule. If that baker wanted to get my hand cut off, he has to lose both of his because in Sharia law, he's the baker. He should see that I'm hungry. He's supposed to help his community. So he should have given me that loaf of bread. That's Sharia law. So these guys called Khazarian mob, and go Google it, it's right up there. So they were right along, when Islam was started, the Prophet Muhammad, praise be his name, came from a very rich family, came from a very, very rich town. The town loved that until he started wanting to, give the rich people's money to the poor people. So he had to hit the road. So he went like on the road, did a tent show, and that's how Islam spread, right? So he went to poorer neighborhoods, countries, and that's why it's like all over Asia and all over the place. So, um, so that's Muhammad. And then it kind of broke up in a few little different factions. And if you ever want to read interesting stuff about Islam, read about Muhammad's grandchildren, his granddaughter and his grandson. Those two kids stood up against the Persian Empire, and just by talking to them, kind of made them turn south. Let's see. Christian. Nothing wrong with religion. No, religion's just a business plan. There's nothing wrong with churches because churches are communities, and if they're helping each other, hey, they're great. I love a good church. It's religion that's the problem. That's it. Exactly. And Atlanta, right there. Nothing's wrong with religion. Nothing's wrong with a church when it's used right for people who need it. So that's usually a church, not a religion. If you actually think about it, God loved this. If you are God, would you love it? Well, God, again, the only true God is love, right? So, and the other side of the coin is we are given unlimited chances to heal ourselves, forgive ourselves, to come to love's co-creation. That's why good, bad is irrelevant, because both enable us to learn something, right? So, love, God, in the Sumerian language, God means demon, and Lord means Baal, and Baal is Satan. So, you know. Right. But see, where the term Jew came from? So right now, today, there's 70 million people who have been thrown out of their life by war, right? So the Jews, they had like a good 1,000 years of that. So they were always on the move. So wherever they went, they weren't really appreciated. So what did they do? They brought bling. I mean, they didn't have goats and tractors and furniture. They just had bling, right? And so when they moved into a place, the king would say, "Oh, well, you got a lot of bling. You want to lend that to me?" And because in Christianity, you weren't supposed to lend for interest. So, but they did it anyway. But you weren't supposed to. The Jews could, right? And where they got the term Jews was up until the time they were known as Jews. They were known as the Hebrew nation, because Harzian, not Jews, right? They were just like I said, zombie pirates on land. And the Russian Tsar, when they were like in his neck of the woods, he went over and put his foot on their throat and said, "Listen, guys, I know you're crooks and I'm a crook, but you're upsetting my apple cart. So you either, stop being this zombie pirate land thing, choose Jewish, Christian, Muslim, I don't care. Choose one, because then I can blame them, right? You guys are too amorphic. You just disappear. And my constituency is getting pissed at me. So you either pick whatever you want to be and then hit the road. And that's what the Khazarian nation, and that's who became the Zionists. They were, the Anunnaki. And when the Nazis were looking for the Aryans, that's who they found as Aryans. So it's not so much, you got to stop using the term Jews, because the term Jew means jeweler. That's where it came from, because these guys were traveling around with a lot of bling because they wanted to stay liquid. And that's, the kings of Europe called them jewelers because that's what they had. They had jewels, right? So, and they're the guys who are, you know, hooked up with the Anunnaki, who send in the gold off. You look at Mr. Rothschild. He owns every bank, every gold mine, every diamond mine, you name it. He owns the bling. And so the Hebrew, I mean, zero. I lived in Williamsburg, Brooklyn for 10 years. My landlord was a really amazing, a scholar of the Talmud. And I was, studying with him the Kabbalah. And he put me in his Lubavitcher, his rabbi school. He goes, "We need you as a rabbi. You need to be Rabbi Al." I said, "Rabbi, I mean, my mom's Irish and German Catholic. My dad's Italian Catholic. How can I be a Jew?" He goes, "Well, no one's perfect. And the Hasidim, we kind of like the Baptist of the Hebrews. We'll take anybody. You're a smart boy. I need you." So I studied for 6 years to be a rabbi. So I'm pretty tight with the Hebrew nation, right? It's the Zionists, and they have nothing to do with the Hebrew nation, right? They basically want to kill them all. Let's see. Let's see. The small and the big words. Well, yeah, it's they come strangely out of my mouth now that I have no teeth. That's the gummy boy. Uh, Not yelling. Okay. I love you, Zero. As much as I love Lana, but I love you too, Zero. And there's 6 of you there. Come on, rest of the gang, jump in here. Uh, let's see. We are, but not you. Yes. Oh, that's a good quib. Whatever. Align the spirit. Thank you, Eden. That's all you got to do, And I think it's time, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. So was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be, world without amen. And every day and every way we take the peace of the earth and we make it stronger with love's co-creation. Our Father, and our Mother, Hail Mary, full of grace, Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and the hour of death. Amen. So, Joseph Campbell, one of my greater teachers, I love that guy because he made fun of everything. This is a great book. This is written by another student of Joseph Campbell's. It's called The Myth of the Great Secret, The Search of Spiritual Meaning and Appreciation of Joseph Campbell by Toby Johnson. Right? Very good book. And I'm using it, it's one of my things, I'm using it to write the demographic algorithms for the alternative aesthetic. Let's see. Yeah, the university never wastes anything. Sure. Well, in our little cerebral cortex, we got three parts of our brain. The reptile brain, the kind of bird brain, and the mammal brain. Right? It depends, what point of your conscious self-awareness and your free will is, what level of ascension you are at. Right? And what's really fun and crazy about right now is that from 1965 up until 1965 to 1835 is this transition period between the Piscean age and the Aquarian age. Piscean age is getting what you want through force, and the Aquarian age is understanding what you need through wisdom, right? And that's why we're at this next 18 months are the 18 amazing months of that 65 to 35 period, right? Almost 100 years, 70 something period. And, I've died 6 times, and every time I have to come back and keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So now I'm like in it to win it, and that's why I lost everything, because now I have nothing to worry about. The universe is taking care of me. Whatever I need, I get. So what do you say to those who are upset that you can't even see Rome? Again, Rome is, one of those three cities. And again, a Jew is just the jeweler, the guy with the bling. We want to really talk about the Hebrew nation, buddy. That's what you should be talking about. Go read the Torah. You know, the New Testament is just a comic book. Not to say that. See, it's also a codex, so it has a lot of deep information in it, but not the way. Let's see. Oh, reptile brain is talking over fluff. Yep. Well, Fluffy gets eaten all the time. I can't. Rome. Well, Rome is right there. It's hard to miss Rome. All those priests doing all that debauchery, and all the money. Talk about money. Whoa. So, hey, I had a godfather who was a cardinal, Cardinal Cushing. He wanted me to be a Catholic priest for, a rocket scientist for the Pope, right? So, I didn't want to go, but they sent me, and I was like Tweety Bird. Oh, they don't know me too well, do they? And so I one little guy, one little peanut guy, was taking on the whole Roman frigging empire. The only thing that kept me alive was my godfather, was Cardinal Cushing. They weren't going to kill me. It would look bad for anyway. He'd get mad. But they put me in the hospital twice. Broke my ribs, broke my arm, concussion, broke my jaw. First grade, none broke my orbit, my jaw. My jaw has been one reason this got screwed up last month was, it's been broken so many times by nuns and priests. So I can talk pretty vehemently about Rome. Right? Yeah. I don't like, Jews are just people. Yep. Yep. I mean, now that I have to try and get help for the non-existent safety net, I fill out all these forms. And whenever it says race, I always put human. And it really, the bureaucrats, what do you mean human? I said, well, I'm a human. Well, are you white? You gotta be white. Look at you, you're white. I said, no, I'm a human. No, you're white. I said, no, okay. Then I'll scratch out human, and I'll put African American melanin challenge. And they really hate that one. Hey, Pugnuts. Good to see you, buddy. Tell us a story, Lana. Yep, you were working as a teacher. Yep. Yep, keep going. Come on, Mana. Come on. It'll be nice. I'm waiting for the niceness. You're always nice. Got this human in my car. That's right. The Jew is just a jeweler. The guy with the bling. Yep. Mm-hmm. The Hebrew. That's right. Hebrew. So what did he tell you, Anna? Come on. Nothing can be spelled worse than I spell things. And spelling is just a spell. It doesn't really exist. It's just a situation. Man, I bear everything to you. Yep. Prostitute from the temple. Yep, got it. There are a lot of stories in the Torah that starts that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Jesus' girlfriend. Judging and judging. Yep. I judge nothing. Yep. Hey, Sunray. Yep. Take care of my 3 young kids. Isn't this a group chat, Eden? Oh, video group chat. That would be fun. How do we do that? See, I'm not part of Facebook. I kind of don't like Facebook. But, if we can use it for good ends, well, maybe. So anyone who lives, or can get to me this summer, I'd be happy to sit down on my laptops and my phone and on a good Wi-Fi and set up whatever platform I want to manifest the best, and I'm not ideological about anything. I don't like Facebook, but I'm not ideologically against it because I serve only one thing: love's co-creation. Okay. Then they both died. Well, gotcha. And death. I've died so many times. As Plato said, dying is like slipping out of a slipper. And so, let's see, how are we doing for time here? Okay. Got to get to the bank soon, so about 15, 20 minutes, I'll be signing off. And maybe I'll come back here for dinner and we'll pick up where we left off. Can you tell us about your most profound near-death experience again after you left your body? That might take a while. So maybe I'll do that next time I do a live chat, like in a couple hours. But basically, they're all the same, and they're all different. Meaning, the first time I ever died was when I was born. My umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck, and I got choked, and the doctor was trying to pull me out with salad tongs, and nearly popped my head off. And Dr. Teresa was watching out for me, and she saved my life and my mother's life. Right? And then she was my doctor. And at 10, I died again in a Catholic hospital, and I woke up with my arm in a cast, and I was strapped to the bed. I was in my own urine and feces, and I had a Hannibal Lecter mask, so I couldn't say anything. And that's when I said, I'm never getting sick again, ever. And that was that. Next time I died, I was a counselor at a camp for inner city kids. And the first time I smoked some real chiba, yeah, I'd been around it, but I never smoked it. And I was in this TP with a bunch of guys, and they were all smoking. It was like the '70s show, and I took a big all the way down to my toes and held it, and all of a sudden, I popped out of my body and I fell down, and I was floating up on the ceiling, looking at my friends, going, "Oh my God, he's dying, he's dead, and no heart." And they were like trying to resuscitate me. They didn't know what the heck they did. They broke a rib. Let's see. Next time I died, I got shot. Not a big, I got bullet kind of creased my hand, but the amount of blood, I just, my blood pressure kind of dropped, and I just conked out. And again, I didn't know how to resuscitate me, and they came to me. Next time was my dad. I've been taking care of my parents for a good 12, 15 years, and I thought I could navigate my parents. And my dad just stuck the knife in my heart and broke my heart. And I had a heart attack. And I had that whole thing of watching, the judgment of my life. And instead of my life being judged, I was up on a mezzanine above with my elders. And we were watching my dad being judged. And they went around to all these people he totally screwed over the years. And he... everyone said, "Send him to hell, send him to hell." And then as they went around the circle, the last person to judge my father was me. And they showed all the mean things he ever did, which were way worse than what he did to other people. And I was the only one who said, "I forgive him." And bang, came out the other side. And I was there in, in this hotel room, and the manager and my sister and the ambulance guys, and he's had a heart attack, and they took me to the hospital, and kind of resuscitated me, and they did all these things, and they said, "Well, it looked like he had a heart attack, but he really didn't." Right? And then last time I died, when was that? Oh, it was when I was really sick, and I was up at the school all by myself, and I had no electricity, and I had no food, and I snowed in, and I was living on, um, you know, onions and oatmeal, and uh, and that was that. And they were all different, but they were all good to see you. Hey, you're a good boy. Go on back. Keep plugging. You know. Oh, the other time was when I died with my guardian angel. And if you go to xratted.blogspot.com, you will see um, all the stories of how I died and everything else. Right? A lot of good stuff there. xratted.blogspot.com. So go on, go read that. Hey there, Ryan. Good to see you, buddy. Haven't seen you in a long time. Let's forget, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. Thank you, buddy. Yeah. Meekness, temperance, grace. That's a good one. Grace, humility. There is no law. Yep. Oh, good to see you, Ryan. I missed you. And there's 119. Let's see, Bob. He's selfless. Well, I only, I don't believe in anything. I guess there loves co-creation. But hey, I ate that piece of cheesecake. I love life. You know, I've had so many loves in my life. I live to love. Right? And whenever I'm with a woman, I'm just with that woman. I don't look around, right? But I've had a lot of women in my life, right? And I've loved men too, but not sexually. I have platonic love for everything, right? That's why I get along with dogs so well, because I'm a dog boy, But I was seeing a friend. I went to a friend of mine who lost his mom, and I went and just see how he was. He's got some of the nastiest, you know, junkyard pit bulls there is, and no one goes to his up on his hill, And I went up on my hill, and all the dogs were up there on the top of the hill, and they went, and his little, sister was there, and they kind of went right by her and right for me, and they stopped, and they went, oh, look, it's out, and started licking my hand, and I was rubbing their ears, and he came out and says, you're the only guy who can do this. Everybody else, these dogs eat. How do you do this? I said, well, I'm a dog. I love everyone and everything. Block me. No, I'm not going to block you, Zero. This is the no block zone. This is the no wrench land. Everyone is welcome here because I go for the best part of you, buddy. I love you. Ba 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 ba. There we go. Let's see. Oh, there. So, research. Did you get my messages? Good. No problem. If I come back here for dinner, I'll try and call again before I go back online. But found a really great place for it. Like I said, go on Zilla and go look that thing up. It's really amazing. Really, really beautiful. And I'll try and empty the images off my camera on my phone and send you a couple pictures of it. Yeah, always have a good day. I told you it's somewhere in the vicinity of 150, and it's like 70 acres, and it's got a homestead and a barn and sheds, and down by the road, a relatively new house, 1,200 square foot with a big deck. It's got electricity, septic, and well, and it's a really great buy. But it's so beautiful because it's mountain meadows, like being in heaven. It's really pretty amazing. Yeah, love you, man. Anyway, so I gotta go because I gotta. Yeah, it's now 1111. When it hits 1111, I'll bail. But I'm gonna try and come back here and have dinner before 5 because that's when we have the before 5 crowd, the good deals. I had a really good deal for lunch, so I'll get a really good deal for dinner. Okay, so I'm gonna sign off now. Yeah, I love you guys. Yep, I'm gonna try around 5-ish my time, right? Give or take. About 3 hours from now. Okay? Okie doke. Love you guys. Gotta run my errands.